Hello and welcome. I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching NewsX World. We have breaking news coming in now. Hundreds of people have been injured after a massive explosion rocked Shahid Rajaee port near Bandar Abbas in southern Iran. We are showing you the visuals of that right now. Officials say at least 516 people were injured during the blast, which triggered a major fire at the country's largest commercial port. Dramatic footage broadcasted by state television showed thick black smoke and flames rising high above the port facility. Authorities confirmed the explosion took place in the Sina container yard, an area linked to Iran's Ports and Maritime Organization. Early reports suggest negligence in the storage of flammable materials may have caused the disaster. Emergency teams quickly transferred to the injured to local hospitals as crisis management officials warned of ongoing safety risks. The port, located more than 1,000 kilometres south of Tehran, remains a crucial hub for Iran's container shipping. We are joined by Professor Rohan Gunaratne, Middle East expert, to discuss this further. Rohan, thank you very much for joining us. Can I get your immediate reaction to these compelling visuals of this blast that has just happened in this significant port city in Iran?
The vessel was carrying 24 containers of sodium perchlorate, and that is the material used for the solid fuel ballistic missiles. The ship sailed from Shanghai and without a military escort. So what is important is that this particular explosion deserves a full investigation. In addition to the lives lost, whether the material that was being transported was going to build Iran's capabilities that would pose a bigger threat to the region and beyond.
Professor Rohan Gunaratne, this is the second incident that has happened to this port, a previous one being a cyber attack in the year of 2020. Where allegedly Israel was involved. How does this incident compare to the previous industrial accidents in Iran? And why is this port so important to be targeted?
Because at this point, Iran is accelerating its fissile and missile programs. And I believe that because of the urgency for Iran to develop these capabilities, including enrichment and weaponization, that they are making a number of mistakes. They are not careful. And as a result, this incident took place. But certainly, this matter must be investigated at an international level to see whether Iran was in compliance with the sanctions regime.
Yes. And Professor Gunaratne, obviously this comes as a backdrop for the Iran-US talks that are currently going on in Oman. How will this affect Iran's weapons capabilities, this explosion?
It will affect Iran significantly. But again, Iran will continue to build their fissile and missile capabilities. Even if there is a resolution, there is some kind of agreement in Oman, I still believe that Iran will persist in its programs to develop military capabilities to fight its enemies and any country that is posing a threat to them. So that is why I think that there should be a dialogue. That Oman meeting is so important. But I think that what happened today in the port is a very clear demonstration why this dialogue should be continued.
Yes, Professor Gunaratne, this Shahid port is strategically located near the Strait of Hormuz, through which a significant portion of the world's oil passes. Given the port's proximity to the Strait of Hormuz, what potential risks does this explosion pose to global oil trade and regional stability?
the global trade has suffered very significantly because of the developments in and around the Arabian Sea, Persian Sea. But I think that, and the Red Sea, but I think that there should be more dialogue and more logic and reason and rationale on the part of international actors. But that itself may not produce the desired results. That is why the Americans have moved huge military capabilities to the region. And this incident is a message to Iran that Iran should not be moving in this direction, because this also endangers shipping, commercial shipping.
Yes, Professor Gunaratne, this is obviously the Americans are going to be looking at this during their talks. What are they going to be thinking?
Firstly, is China providing Iran the precursors to build capabilities, and what they are, and what is the reason for doing so, and what further measures the United States will take. But what is important to understand is that Iran is determined to fight back. Iran is determined to build its capabilities. This explosion clearly demonstrates that Iran will not back up. Iran will not go back on the fissile and missile programs that it has started. I mean to say, there are so much of efforts by the Israelis and by other countries to stifle Iran's program, but Iran is persistent in its endeavor to build these capabilities. But this loss of lives certainly will be a shock. It will be also, there'll be so much of protests inside Iran of what is going to happen. The regime itself will be under, the Iranian regime itself will be under threat.
Yes. Rohan, obviously it's best not to speculate as we have limited information currently, but this explosion, will this have any benefit to any countries?
No, it will only create insecurity, instability. It will create fear. I think that there will be a greater discussion between governments and the shipping agencies with regard to the safety and security of that entire region. And I want to say that it's not only the threat in the Arabian Sea, and but I think there will be maritime shipping itself will come under close review as a result of this incident.
Yes, and what do you think the potential long-term economic repercussions for Iran if the port remains non-operational due to this incident?
Iran will certainly, Iran's economy is doing very badly, but Iran will survive. But certainly Iran's economy will further decline. And I think that this is the time for there to be a reflection on the part of the Iranian leadership, whether this is the direction they want to move.
Yes. And what does this incident reveal about Iran's safety measures that they put in, the emergency response? We've had so far we've had no reports of any casualties. Do you expect that number to rise given the images that are coming out of this region today?
Very much. I have examined visually, I have examined the footage and the photographs, and I think that the fatalities and casualties, fatalities and injuries will rise. Certainly Iran doesn't have the same capabilities as the Western nations to respond to a disaster like this. So I think that any country that can advise and assist Iran during this period should do so. But what is important is full-scale investigation into what the vessel was carrying and why it was carrying and whether proper protocols and procedures were followed.
Yes, and who are those allies that that are most likely to help Iran in a disaster like this, just to get a better understanding of the geopolitical implications and some of the reactions that some of Iran's allies might have in regard to this disaster?
China, Russia, Pakistan certainly will help Iran. I think the humanitarian side of this disaster, because of it's a humanitarian disaster primarily in the first place, there will be other countries also that will help Iran.
Yes, and the economic implications of this are obviously going to be severe. 80 million tons of goods annually make it through this port city that has been attacked previously. This is the country's largest commercial port. What implications, both short-term and long-term, will this have on the economic state of Iran?
Iran's economy has been steadfastly going down, and this incident will again be another shock, another blow to Iran. And of course, Iran will have to work hard to turn that around.
Yes. Rohan Gunaratne, please stay with us. If you are just joining us, we are covering the recent explosion that has happened in the Shahid Rajaee port near Bandar Abbas in the south of the country. As you can see the visuals that are playing now, you can see black smoke billowing throughout the region, with reports of at least 561 people injured so far. No reports of fatalities. These numbers are coming from state media reports. The blast itself originated from several containers in the port's wharf area, possibly containing hazardous materials or chemicals. The explosion has produced a large fire and a large plume of smoke, as you can see on your television screens right now. The black smoke is visible for kilometers throughout the region, with the shockwave shattering windows and causing structural damage to buildings several kilometers away. Reports are saying at least one building has collapsed due to the blast, reports are saying. And the explosion was reportedly heard from Kashim Island, which is reportedly 26 kilometers south of the area. Emergency services, including the Harmogazan Red Crescent Society, dispatched rapid response teams to the scene. Okay, we now have some audio. Let's listen in to where the blast took place. And authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the explosion. Preliminary assessment suggested that negligence in handling flammable chemicals may have contributed to this incident. Professor Gunaratne is once again joining us. The implications for this area is going to be dire, and the state of Iran. How do you think the people of Iran are going to be feeling about this disaster, and how is it going to hit them the most?
The people of Iran are very angry because of the state of the economy. And I think that Iran has been doing this for a considerable amount of time. This is not the first ship that carried inflammable material. There has been several other ships, and Iran has been put on notice. And the security and intelligence services of the world are aware of what Iran has been transporting from China to build its missile program. And I think the Iranian people are tired of it. Most Iranians do not want Iran to build these massive missile and fissile capabilities. So I believe that people are disappointed with the Iranian leadership. And this may be the very beginning of the start of a revolution to get rid of the current regime leaders.
Yes, and Professor Gunaratna, how do you feel about trusting Iran to take an investigation like this into its stride? Does this incident have a danger of becoming political?
Certainly, but it will be an international investigation, because whether Iran likes it or not, there'll be a number of security and intelligence services, especially Western services, that have the skills and the capabilities to investigate what is happening in Iran, and who is providing these precursor material, and what these material are going to be used, what capabilities Iran is going to produce. I believe it is a colossal waste of money for Iran when its own people are suffering without essentials. So this incident itself will make the Iranian people think and be very angry with the Iranian government.
Professor Gunaratna, thank you very much for joining us. We stay in the region with more Middle East news. Hamas has announced that its leadership delegation has arrived in Cairo for critical talks with Egyptian officials. The discussions aim to secure a comprehensive deal to end the Gaza war, including a full Israeli withdrawal and the reconstruction of the devastated territory. The group's statement highlights urgent demands for the humanitarian aid crisis, stressing the immediate need for food, medicine and relief supplies for Gaza's suffering population. The talks are also expected to cover the formation of a community support committee to help manage Gaza's affairs, alongside broader discussions on Palestinian internal matters. Meanwhile, Gaza's government media office warned that the blockade has put more than 1 million children at risk of famine, pleading for the entry of food, medicine and fuel to the Gaza Strip. 59 Israeli hostages still are with Hamas in Gaza. We are joined by Ali M. Abbasport, independent Palestinian researcher located in Cairo, to discuss this further. Ali, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. Do you have hopes for these talks, which are obviously being mediated in Cairo, where you are? Do you think that what makes these ones different to last time?
Thank you. On the ground, Palestinians are looking for the little glimmer of hope to reach to end the war in Gaza, while Hamas denying to reach out to any deal with Israel. Hamas emphasized that they are going for a comprehensive deal with Israel to release the captive, as well as they are mentioning that, according to their senior leader Tahir al-Nunu, they are mentioning that they are going to Cairo to talk about the deal. Hamas mentioned the military, the army, the weapons of Palestinian resistance is the red line, so they can't demilitarize, which this is making a huge trouble in the negotiation with Israel. We have seen that Benjamin Netanyahu, he stress about the demilitarization of Hamas, and there is no any rule for Hamas on the ground or with the in the Palestinian government the day next of war. So things is not clear yet. Will Hamas denied to demilitarized and to about that comprehensive exchange with Israel. Also here we are talking about the suffering of Palestinians on the ground while the people are suffering from the starvation, and we are going to the funeral in the Gaza Strip. There is a shortage on a substantial supplies in Gaza. At the same time, also Israel carrying out an airstrike in the tent of the Palestinian citizen, and more than 50 Palestinians now today they are reached to the hospital. They are killed by the Israeli airstrike. So the significant question here, what's Hamas waiting for about? We have seen that last week, President Abbas, the Palestinian president, he demanded Hamas to release the captive to end this war, while Hamas also, according to reports or according to social media activists, it's used by Iran and Qatar about the conflict between Iran and Israel and America. So here we need some serious statement from Hamas about their seriousness about negotiation and about talk to reach to the end to the conflict. While Hamas also, one of the senior leader Mahmoud Mordai, he's based on the West Bank. He said that Hamas showing their flexibility in the talk in Qatar and also in Cairo. Here we are waiting for what is coming on the with the time. So either Hamas will be as serious to end the war and reach to comprehensive deal with Israel or no. And also Hamas stress about the Israeli withdrawal, while Israel also mentioning that there is a buffer zone for their security and to not repeat it such kind of action like October 7th. So the things is a bit complicated between Israel and Hamas yet, but on the ground, Palestinians looking at only little glimmer of hope. But
Yes.
in my opinion, there is no hope since Hamas is still having power in Gaza and there is no representative for the Palestinian Liberalization Organization, because Hamas can't lead the negotiation with Israel or with USA. Yeah.
Yes. Ali, obviously harrowing images that we're seeing on a regular basis coming out of Gaza. Israel has had a blockade on aid coming into Gaza since early March. According to the Gazan Health Ministry, 1 million children are at risk of famine now. I was wondering if you could fill the audience in on the impact of the lack of aid in Gaza in regards to food, in regards to medicine, and in regards to fuel in the Gaza Strip, and the scarcity of it right now.
The thing is, the only casualties of this war is the civilians, not either Hamas or Israel. Civilians are suffering on the ground. Israel also targeting the charity of kitchen that offering food for the people who can't have the ability to manage the everyday food or to manage everyday surviving. So also we have witnessed that Israel targeting the Palestinian school that taking as a shelter for the people who displaced. So only people on the ground, the civilian who's got impacted from this war, from the starvation, from the as you mentioned, the pain. So here is also more than 100,000 of Palestinians prohibited to go to the school, while the education system is completely suspended during the 7th of October in 1993. So here is also the Palestinian community about, we are talking about the relation between the people, and the social cohesion between people also, it's got impacted on the ground. People, or most of the people on the ground, suffering from the trauma and visible injury. So here is also we are talking about the the weakness sector in the community, women and the children who really deeply impacted from this war, while Hamas giving them its back and doesn't listen to the demand of the ordinary people. And as I mentioned, social media is flooded with the criticizing of Hamas and demanding Hamas to end the war in any cost. So in any reach to the
Ali, I want to just ask you one more final question. The leadership delegation is heading to Cairo with Egyptian officials today. Obviously, Egypt does border the Gaza Strip. How have you analysed and assessed Egypt's mediation efforts so far in this conflict?
See, the connection between Gaza and Egypt is the historical connection. So we know that Egypt controlled Gaza after the Sixth Day of War in 1967. So also, according to my information, the security source emphasized that they are pressurizing Hamas to accept their new proposal with regard to reach a comprehensive exchange and comprehensive deal with Israel. But as I mentioned, Hamas is used by Iran and Qatar for this rule. As you know, nowadays there is a competition between Qatar and Egypt, who will dominate and who will control the Arab area, and who will be the dog watch for this area. As I also hear, Egypt has a historical mediation. So in 2012, also Egypt reached to the mediation between Hamas and Israel in the military operation in 2012, 2014, and also with a Great March of Return also in 2018. Egypt pressurized Hamas to accept the deal with Israel. But nowadays, the things is out of control of Egypt, since Hamas acting like a stubborn and with no result. I mean, see that if you will talk about the devastation in Gaza, more than half of the building in Gaza completely devastated, and the community also devastated psychologically, physically also. 100 of people suffering from amputation. Since the day one Hamas controlled Gaza, people are suffering with such conflict. Hamas running out more than 6 round of conflict and war with Israel. Up to now, we are looking to save the humanity, to save the human people, I mean the civilian on the ground.
Yes, Ali M. Abbasport, thank you very much for joining us. Well, that is all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more news updates from around the world. Thank you very much.